Ayan. So, welcome back to my channel. So, you are tuning in to Estudiante Blues. Alright, so magandang gabi po sa lahat ng ating mga viewers for this evening. And you are tuning in to Greatness Hub online channel, the only online channel affiliated with iHealth Coaching and Business Solutions Incorporated. And right now, this is your host, Coach Luz, at your service. Alright, so we go to our topic. So for our topic this evening, let me share my screen with you. Alright, so the title of the topic rather for this evening is entitled, Moving Forward in This Time of Pandemic. Now, I chose this kind of the title for the show this evening because a lot of students are having difficulty when it comes to their academic concerns because of the global pandemic situations. So to help them move on, carry on to their academic activities and this forthcoming vacation, so we decided to have our segment for this evening entitled Moving Forward in This Time of Pandemic. So I would like to discuss with you a few points on how we will be able to assist the students in their academic situation, most especially during this kind of pandemic. Alright, so my first request is that I would like to ask everybody, kamusta ka na? So kamusta ka naman ngayon? Lalong-lalo na ngayong panahon ng sitwasyon na bumalik ulit ang ECQ, GCQ, MECQ, pabalik-balik lang yan, ano? And still, we are restricted to go about our daily activities and we are not allowed to freely move around. So most of us are at home and even parents working are scheduled work from home and basically students are not allowed to go out. So, kamusta ka na? This is one question is very, very important nowadays, specifically getting to know you, how are you feeling this time of day. So, to gauge us on our feelings, our emotion for this particular day. So, I request everyone to choose what particular emojis, best describes how are you feeling today. So, A, if you are aggressive. So, B, if you feel like you are bewildered. And there are a lot to choose from. So, my request is that type in our chat box rather, the letter or the word that best describes how are you feeling today. So are you a little bit jealous? Are you a little bit glad? Or you are frightened somehow? So I wish everyone would be cooperative and participate in this. So choose one emoji that best describes your feeling this very moment. So salamat sa lahat ng nag-participate ha. Okay, so we move on to the next. We did our survey, for our Catholic institution as to the reasons why students do not want to enroll in the school, particularly during the time of pandemic. And basically, the reason why we would want to know the different reasons why students don't want to enroll is because we would like to be assisted, on how we could best extend our help to these particular students. This both applies to public and private institutions. So based from our survey, these are the results. So at one glance, the reasons why students do not want to enroll, particularly during the time of pandemic, is financial in nature. They lack gadget, they have connectivity issues, they have a lot of distractions, and they do experience online stress. So let's discuss this one by one. For financial, it's very evident that most of us actually experiences financial difficulties. It's very evident since some of the companies did close A lot of employees were laid off and others got afflicted by the disease. So somehow financial capability are affected by the current situation. Grabe. And going to school in some areas, it's not their priority. And secondly, ayan, pag may problema sa financial, it goes without saying that lack of gadgets, which is synonymous to online classes, is also a result of financial concerns. And since our classes are held fully online in majority of cases, so students do need either a laptop, a desktop, in some cases tablet would do, and in worst case scenario, they can use smartphones, and others still yung capable, they can use iOS phones. And yung paggamit ng mga gadgets na ito would really help them getting through yung ating semestral and the whole school year if the students are in high school. Yeah. So, isa yun sa mga reasons bakit. Kasi wala silang pera, wala silang pambili. Or, the third one would be connectivity issue. So, eto, lahat tayo apektado dito, di ba? So, kahit meron kang financial capacity, kahit ikaw naman ay may gadget, connectivity issue is real. Meaning, lahat po tayo, pag nag-down ang ating internet provider, so usually, if you could still remember, hindi tayo makakonect. Or even if you have the best internet plan ever, and you have the fastest internet connection, rather, the problem is if our service providers, yung top service providers, they had a problem like nagkaroon ng downtime in one of their stations or in one of their towers. Bottom line is that lahat tayo hindi makakonect. Diba? There was a time, if you could still remember, parang tatlong big internet providers, sabay-sabay silang nag-down ng system. It's nationwide, and yun, lahat tayo ay nag-asynchronous classes because we cannot find decent connection. So we experience problem in terms of connectivity. And until this time, lahat po tayo at one point, at certain times during the day, we still experience connectivity issue. Basically because if you come to think of it, lahat ng bahay na may internet at lahat ng nag-work from home, since classes are done online and since companies allow work from home schedule, so ibig sabihin, lahat po tayo nakahook online. And even if we have the fastest and the highest plan, the most expensive, pagka marami nakahook sa isang internet provider, so apektado pa rin yung distribution ng ating internet connection. Ayan. That's one of the main reasons why students do not want to enroll. And there are certain situations, as shared by some students in different parts of the country, there are even times where they have to go up the roof or go up to the highest place in their home or somewhere within their vicinity just to find access to internet connection. Naghahanap sila ng signal. And then the next one, since everything is done online and since students are doing their academics inside the home, one of the main reasons why they do not want to enroll is they experience a lot of distractions. And these distractions actually affect even their academic performance. So what are the distractions na dinidiscuss ng mga bata? Isa-isahin natin yan later, no? So, sa bahay, basically ang distractions is that sometimes, even if they do have classes, parents or other members of the family would call on them and then ask them to do something. Ayan, uutusan, magluto, maglaba, bumili sa labas. And that is a distraction on the part of the students having their classes at one particular time. Another distraction according to the students is that uh, since they are hooked in the internet and their classes are done online, and at certain times hindi naman sila inaalaw, hindi allowed sila na hindi mag-open ng camera. So merong time ng mga estudyante ay nagmo-multitasking. So when we say multitasking, they're actually having their classes online, and then at one screen they are doing other things, like they are doing research, they are watching whatever over the internet, and in some instances they even play online games. So those are distractions that actually affect academic performance, and those are some of the reasons why students do not want to enroll. And lastly, based on the um, statistics of the results of the survey conducted, ayan, some of the students do not want to enroll because they experience too much stress online. Ayan, so na-stress sila ng bonggang-bongga dahil sa dami ng distractions at sa dami ng gawain because of the online class. Okay. So, ano-ano ba yung mga online stress na yan? So, we'll discuss them on that. Ayan. So, ano ba daw ang effect ng pandemic sa health ng mga estudyante? Okay, so, since this is a global situation, and until now, we are still hoping that this pandemic situation would end. Ayan. At this point in time, nararamdaman po natin yung negative effect ng pandemic sa health nating lahat. And we already experiencing the other strains, the effect of the other strains of COVID-19. Nakapasok na po siya dito sa Pilipinas. So, even if they say that the effect of the different strains is not as fatal as the first strain of COVID, but it is faster, even spread quicker, and the effect to the Filipino society is that kung makikita nyo, pami-pamilya na po yung tinatamaan. Unlike before kasi, ang tinatamaan ng pandemya pa isa-isa, and then pag nag-quarantine, eventually gumaling. But right now, if you would notice, majority ng affected ng pandemya ay pami-pamilya po, buong family ang inuubos. So, yan. And the negative effect of this pandemic is actually having its toll to the health, particularly the mental health of the student. So, how do we do about it? What can we do about it? So, tingnan muna po natin yung effects. Now, these are the statistics in connection with the psychological impact of COVID-19 pandemic. So, according to the world statistics, so 16.9% of the people experiences moderate to severe depressive symptoms. 28.8% experiences moderate to severe anxiety level, and 13.4% experiences moderate to severe stress level. So, if these are the different symptoms, and if we get exposed to this kind of symptoms, psychological symptoms at a longer time, ibig sabihin, this would really actually affect our health. Not only the mental health, but even the physical health as well. So, tingnan po natin. Ayan. So, one of the negative effects, ill effects of the pandemic COVID-19 situation is that a lot of students experiences depression. So, when we say depression po, dalawang klase po yan. Yung feeling depressed, yan, feeling mo depressed ka lang, but this is experience for quite a shorter amount of time. Kumbaga, seasonal lang siya, But when we say clinical depression, ito po medyo dangerous po siya, So, how do we differentiate depression, clinical depression, from the feeling depressed? Okay, so ang symptoms po ng clinical depression are as follows. So, one is that you have a feeling of isolation. So, ibig sabihin, if you see a person who used to be playful, used to be with other people, kind of extrovert, laging labas, masayahin, And then all of a sudden, ayaw makisalamuha, gusto laging nag-iisa, no? That could be a sign of depression, most especially if the symptom is evident for two weeks or more. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan ma-qualify mo siya na more than 2 weeks. So, the person who experiences depression has no energy, meaning hindi makabangon, no? Wala siyang ganang kumain, ayan, they cannot concentrate, medyo laging magagalitin, no? Emotionally unstable rather, merong problem sa alcohol or sometimes they turn into drugs, extreme sadness, o masyadong emotional, walang ganang kumain, or at certain times po, gustong kumain, walang tigil ng kakakain. Both extremes po. They have difficulty sleeping or nagkakaroon ng insomnia, hindi makatulog, or meron naman po at certain times, wala namang ginawa kundi tulog ng tulog. And most especially, they have recurring thoughts of death. Ayan, so, merong suicidal ideation and there is a strong feeling of guilt. Okay, so ulitin po natin ha. So, yung mga nabanggit pong 10 sintomas, pagka po yan ay na-experience nyo or ng kakilala nyo or ng somebody in your home, 5 of this, check yan, symptoms, and you see these symptoms, 5 of these or more, for more than 2 weeks, that is already po a red flag. Ibig sabihin po, you have to see a professional for that, for you to be assisted or for you to have yung pong tinatawag natin clinical diagnosis so that you'll be able to know kung meron po talagang signs of depression at ma-diagnose kung ano pong level yung kanilang clinical depression. So, major depressive disorder po ba or depression. And then, if ever you are feeling these kinds of symptoms, so what are you gonna do? So, what can you do? Ayan. So, first is that travel. Okay? Meron pong travel ban. So, how can we travel? Sabi nga natin, use your imagination. Be creative. Mag-travel sa loob ng bahay. Di ba? Mag-travel tayo sa YouTube. Mag-travel din tayo sa internet, no? Pwede natin gamitin si Google Map. Meron naman po ngayong mga applications na nakakapagbigay ng 360 degrees na panoramic view, no, ng mga locations. And then if you see 5 or more signs of this depressive symptoms or syndrome, what's very, very important is that you have to consult a doctor. Consult po a professional because basically, if 5 or more, uulitin ko, it's a red flag mo po. Kailangan po kayo ay ma-diagnose para you can be given appropriate intervention. Ayan. So, depressed or not, it's very, very important that we take vitamins and we eat properly because we have to really boost our health, no? Physical health and mental health. So, you can also be given an antidepressant or other medications, depende po sa diagnosis, but this can only be given to you by licensed professionals. Ayan. So, please consult a doctor. If you can, to prevent this, you have to sleep at least 8 hours a day minimum. Ayan, 8 hours a day minimum. Para you can recuperate and you can have ample boost of energy. If you could, so you could actually do yoga. If you're not fan of yoga, at least do some exercises, not that active or not that strenuous, but maintain a regular exercise. Or if not, at least you have to be very maintain an active lifestyle. Yan. And then maintain positive thoughts. Choose to be happy. Okay, you have to be creative. Ibig sabihin, if you have free time, so learn new things. Diba? Discover your creativity. And you can also use or indulge in music, sing, dance, choose kung ano yung mga bagay na can make you happy or can distract you from all of this negativity. Create a schedule. Develop a habit. Kasi kung meron kang schedule, meron kang habit, you are actually forced to do a whole lot of things based on your schedule. So, ibig sabihin, napo-force ka talagang gumawa because it's already in your body clock or in your timetable. Ayan. Another thing is you have to communicate. Ayan. You have to connect to people that you trust. Open up your mind, your soul, your experiences to a confidant. Ayan. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you're telling this and telling that, you open up to a friend or to a confidant, you find solution to your problems. What's important is that you have somebody you can lean on, you can trust, and you can share your experience with it. And lastly, take a bath. Ayan, maligo, mag-enjoy, i-experience yung tubig, lalo na ngayon, napakainit, no? So, i-enjoy niyo po yung long, warm bath. It could really help you regulate, no, yung system nyo, and at the end of your long bath na na-enjoy nyo, nakaka-presko po yan at nakakatanggal po siya ng stress. Alright. Next one po is anxiety. Okay, so this pandemic situation brought us a whole lot of anxious feelings, no? Yan, marami tayong worries in mind, marami po tayong emotional or mood concerns, medyo maiinitin ang ulo, merong angst, naku, may tension, may panic attack, ako may panic attack, lalo na pag lumalabas, no? Meron tayong phobia, pag may phobia tayo, extreme fear, meron tayong psychosomatic feelings, no? Marami tayong aches and pains, nako, meron tayong stress. Pag na-stress tayo, may psychosomatic symptoms or syndrome. So, nararamdaman natin yung lahat ng feelings na nakakatakot. Ayan, may headache, may body pains, may fear, may sweating, may cold sweat, and a whole lot more. So, how do we handle this? How do we handle this? Sabi nga natin, we are in the best position to control our emotions. Diba? Dito po pumapasok yung tinatawag natin na 90-10 principle. So, ano po yung 90-10 principle? When we say 90-10, 90% of everything that's happened in our environment is beyond our control. And we only have the 10% of whatever is happening surrounding us. 10% lang yun. So, ano po yung 10%? So, the 10% of the situation that we are in control of is only our reaction or response to any given situation. Ulitin ko po, 10% lang po ng nangyayari sa buhay natin ang meron tayong control. So, ano po yung 10%? Yun po yung response natin or reaction natin sa situation. So, ano po yung difference ng response at saka ng reaction? Diba? So, when we react, it's automatic. Parang instinct po yan, hindi natin napapag-isipan. But when we respond, pag nag-respond po tayo, medyo mature way of reacting. So, ang responding po is coupled with responsibility. We think things out and we choose the best solution to a given situation. That is how we respond. Okay. So, ang pandemya po ay nagdala sa atin ng sangkatutak na stress. Ayan. So, ang pandemya ay isang stressor, no? So, pag sinabi natin stressor, ito po yung mga result niya, no? So, increasing level of stress. Lahat po tayo ay may tinatawag na threshold. Ayan. So, ano po ba yung threshold, no? Pag sinabi nating threshold, yun po yung hangganan na kung hanggang saan natin kaya yung ating nararamdaman. Beyond our threshold, ibig sabihin, tayo po ay puno na at dapat nang kalusin kung ano man yung nakapuno na yan. Ano? And since we are in control of whatever is happening, we are in control of our responses to any given situation. Yan. So, we react or we respond. Okay? So we are in the best position to identify our stressors. And stress in itself is neutral. Neutral po yan. So explain ko sa inyo later on. Ha? So ang stressor can brought us anxiety. Ayan. Can give us anxious feelings. When we are stressed, we find it difficult to concentrate. And when we are on a high level of stress, it affects our sleeping patterns. Okay? It also decreases our social interactions. It brings about, concerns on academic performance. So, ang dami-daming effect po ng stress na yan. Okay? But ito lang po ang tatandaan nyo. Going back to the 90-10 principle, sabi natin dyan, whatever you focus on expands. Sabi po yan ni Grout. Grout is one of my favorite author, no? New York bestselling author po yan. Whatever you focus on expands. So ano pong ibig sabihin yan? Ibig sabihin po niyan, if you focus on the negative effect of stress, you think of the situation where you are experiencing right now, where you are at. If you fill your life or your thoughts with negativity, so you will be filled with negativity at kakainin ka po ng buo ng negativity because it basically expands. But if you think of the stressful situation as something that is challenging, no, and an opportunity for you to grow, you fill your life with positivity, or basically it would also expand and you will be fill your life with positivity. Diba? So whatever your mind can conceive, your body can achieve. Para lang yan sinabi, ay sa Friday magkakasakit ako. Wednesday ngayon, sa Friday magkakasakit ako. Come Friday, bakit tayo nagkakasakit? Kasi nga, ipinapasok natin sa sistema natin na magkakasakit tayo. So, ang end result is that we think, therefore we become. Okay, so choose to be happy. So, whatever you focus on expands. So, you choose to be happy so that the output will be something positive. Alright. So, bakit po tayo na-stress? Share ko lang po sa inyo, ha. Ayan. So, how are we spending our time during the pandemic situation? So, according to the statistics done ng April 2020, so people spend most time with the following. Okay, so 76% of the people around the world do their thing via smartphone. Basically because we are actually detailed in the four corners of our home. So there's nothing else to do but mostly spend our time via our smartphone. And 45% of the entire population spent their time in computers and laptop. The 32%, if not computers, if not laptop, nasa desktop naman po. And then 22% more are in their tablet devices. Another 34% naman po is on a smart or media streaming devices, yung smart TV, no? And live streaming, gaya ng Facebook. And then 17% of the entire population are hooked into gaming or console gaming. And then some, 11%, are on their smart speaker. And the 6.3% naman po ay hooked in their smart watches. Kuting-ting exercise to maintain their physical fitness. And then around the world, the latest statistics is that, around the world, no? Out of the 7.8 billion people in total population, nakita mo dyan, 5.2 billion or 66.6% are actually using their mobile phone in a unique way. Ayan. Diba? Never had smartphone been used in a very unique way. We can have our classes sa smartphone. Unlike before na ang telepono ay naka-hook lang, di ba? Sa ibabaw ng lamesa or nakasabit sa dingding. But now, we can bring our phone anywhere. Actually, some of us even own multiple smartphones and We can do videos, take pictures, and edit yan videos using our phone. 4.6 billion actually use internet, and another 0.42 billion people around the world are active social media users. And alam naman natin na ang top 1 social media users, lalong-lalo na yan. Sa texting din, ang Pilipinas. Yan, very, very active tayo dyan. So, ito yung isa sa mga reasons bakit tayo na-stress ng masyado, because we are so much exposed with our phone, with the internet, and the social media. Tama po ba? Ayan. So at present, we live in a VUCA world. Ano po ba yung VUCA world? If you're not familiar with the VUCA world, from this day forward, you will be exposed to and will most likely be seeing the term VUCA world more often than not, no? Kasi ito yung mga latest term. So, ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng VUCA world? Okay, so when we say VUCA, it is an acronym for a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Yan. So when we say volatile, no, the environment demands that you react quickly to ongoing changes that are unpredictable and out of our control. Wala pong pattern ang nangyayari sa atin, and I think none could have prepared us for this global pandemic situation. Okay, so nakita naman po natin ang gravity, no, ng effect ng global pandemic. At uncertain po tayo, nobody knows what will happen next. All the while, ang thinking natin, previously, the pandemic situation would last like days, weeks, months, but come to think of it, we already we are 1 year and 3 months going with the pandemic situation, and from the looks of it, in the educational sector, we would still be doing online classes still for the next school year. Yan. We also live in a complex world, diba? Pabago-bago yan, masyadong complicated ang mundo natin, no? So, ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, akala natin back to the old normal na tayo, but then dumami ulit ang cases ng afflicted ng COVID, so naghigpit ulit, and eventually, hindi natin alam really what happens next. And we live in a very ambiguous world. What's happening right now, we are all unfamiliar with. So we cannot plan what would happen next because we do not have a background, a past experience where we could use as our gauge and plan the next thing that we're going to do. So lahat po tayo ay nangangapa, and even experts at this point in time, they are not certain on what lies ahead. So nag-e-eksperimento pa lang din sila. We are learning and we move forward as we go along. And sabi nga nila, we will just cross the bridge when we get there. So what is the effect of all these uncertainties in the minds of the students and even the minds of the adults? Diba? This situation actually brings about more stress to every one of us. And this particular stress we've been experiencing for more than 1 year now is actually taking its toll not only in our physical health but also in the mental health. So how do we move forward from this ambiguous situation or this VUCA world we are living right now? Ano po ba ang pwede natin gawin? Ayan. So from the VUCA world of filled with uncertainty, we focus more on the positive side of it rather than dwell on the negative situation. So instead of us thinking of volatility of the situation, yung walang pattern, yung papalit-palit, no, na sitwasyon, we focus on our vision. We have to be clarified of what is our vision. Ano po ba yung end goal natin? So if you are a student, your end goal is to finish your studies. Even if you go around, di ba? Go around, umikot ka man, kahit saan ka man dumaan, okay, tumigil ka man, but don't lose sight of your end goal, which is eventually to finish your studies. So you have to be clarified what your vision is, what do you see in the future, what you would like to achieve in the long run. Okay? Instead of uncertainty, you have to understand. Okay? So alam natin na hindi natin alam kung anong mangyayari bukas. But we can actually research more, okay, lay down everything that we know, and try to assimilate and understand what's happening. So right now, ang alam natin, merong COVID-19, diba? But think of it, nung lumabas ang COVID-19, lahat tayo nagkaroon ng health scare. Instead of healthcare, nagkaroon tayo ng health scare. Ano yung health scare? Ang alam natin, meron siyang virus na invisible, no? Hindi natin nakikita. So, ano ang result? We can see people via the social media who literally drops dead. Drop dead talaga. Basta na lang sila nalulugmok and eventually natitegi bells na sila. Okay? Namamatay without us knowing bakit. And eventually, little by little, we came to know that COVID-19 is actually a flu strain virus, and this can be battled, and our battle for this can be won by abiding to and sticking to health protocols. So, ano yung health protocols? Binigyan tayo ng different health protocols. And one of the safety net for winning this battle, COVID-19 pandemic scare, is to stay at home. Di ba? Sanitize, avoid close contact, ayan, social distancing, and a whole lot more. So eventually, little by little, we came to understand, okay, what's happening around us. We also have to be clarified of the situation, and when we understand, we are clarified of all the things that surrounding us, we have to act with agility. We have to move fast. Kasi baka yung solutions mo to a certain problem might not be applicable tomorrow. Kasi nga, ambiguous siya eh. Kasi nga, volatile siya eh. Ever-moving siya eh. Hindi natin siya ma-predict yung pattern because kulang pa yung understanding natin. So how can we help? What are the different things that can be done for us to be assisted to move forward? So ito po yung mga. So how do we move forward? Ito po yun. So we have government initiatives, no, to assist us, even the students, even the teachers, and even family members, and the entire humanity as a whole. Now, since pandemic is a global situation, so it necessitated global intervention. Okay, so global intervention. So UNESCO, ayan, created a global education coalition membership. So different big companies, organizations, NGOs, international at that, they actually bought in. Ayan, diba? Naging member sila ng UNESCO Global Initiative to make sure that education should continue and be given to the youth because you are the hope of the fatherland. So education continues even if we do have the pandemic. So, nag-isip sila ng mga bagay-bagay, no, para ituloy ang education. Kaya nga nagkaroon tayo ng iba't ibang klase ng learning modalities. Secondly, they also strengthen, Minding Our Minds campaign. So, I'll be explaining to you one by one. And then, there is already a preparation for a limited face-to-face mode of learning and, of course, the vaccination campaign. Alright. So, what is UNESCO Global Coalition Membership? Ayan. So, ang objective po nila is to protect the right to education. So, hindi porket nagkaroon ng pandemic at nagsara ang mga companies at tayo naman po ay hindi ipinalabas ng bahay, matitigil na yung education. So, that's why the government all over the world, they put their heads together and come up with an online learning system. And those students who are not capable of the online learning, lumabas naman po yung tinatawag nating modular learning. So kung hindi naman po makakuha ng module, there are still other learning modalities which can be used by students para lang tuloy pa rin silang matuto. And then, they have to make sure that yung education is equitable for all. Ibig sabihin, those students who are not capable of providing themselves with gadgets, if you would agree with me, our local government and even the national government even provided yan, laptop, and even tablets to students in the basic education. Okay? Sa public school po, nagbigay sila ng laptop at saka tablets sponsored by the government and other NGOs para lang po maituloy yung educational system klase because education is really, really important. Okay, and then strengthen the learning system. Lahat po tayo nag-adjust. And teachers, they have to finish their modules before the class of 2020-2021 begins. Diba po? They were requested to finish their module. They were requested to finish their PowerPoint presentation. They attended several seminar series to equip themselves on how to go about learning everything. And on top of that, until now, they continuously engage into different kinds of learning to upgrade themselves, especially those who are seasoned teachers. No, they find it difficult to adapt to. But inch by inch, para sa mga estudyante, they are going out of their comfort zone to learn all these things, to adjust. And hopefully, the students are also doing the same. Ayan. So, these are just list of some of the members of the UNESCO Global Education Coalition. So, yung mga big names, pinag-aaralan po nila yan. And then secondly, so Minding Our Minds campaign. So ano pong ibig sabihin niya? Now, these are strategies created by our local and national government, no, which focuses on the different activities, especially webinar series right now to strengthen the mental health and resilience of the student. Now, why mental health? Why mental health? Basically because, sabi nga natin, no, sobrang stress na yung mga bata sa panahon ng pandemya and brought about by the pandemic situation itself. At the same time, yung bulk ng academic requirements and online stress nga, sabi ng mga bata. Now, if you are not familiar with the different webinar series being conducted by CEDRO, and DepEd, if you would want, actually, you could visit the CHED NCR or different CEDRO websites. They created, I think it's 15 webinar series, and the webinar series actually gave lectures on how we can strengthen our mental health and deal with online stress, health concerns brought about by online classes in the pandemic situation, and different tips and tricks on how we could be able to develop resiliency and how we will be able to handle our life difficulties and concerns. So, yun, check nyo po yung website ng CHED or CEDRO and DepEd for the different seminar series. So, the campaign is to strengthen the mental health and resiliency of students. And the third project is the preparation for limited face-to-face classes. CHED, together with the higher educational institution, had already met and they are preparing for a minimal face-to-face classes. Now, face-to-face classes in some subjects, all the courses related to medical field. Okay, so yung mga medical related courses po, CHED is actually planning to have limited face-to-face classes already. Ayan. Face-to-face mode of learning, and eventually in preparation yan for better normal schooling mode of learning in the years to come. But definitely what is certain is that for the next school year 2021-2022, we will still be utilizing the online class schedule and mode of learning. So, online pa din po tayo for the next school year, except for some medical or allied health courses. Very minimal face-to-face classes. And then the last one of the campaign is the vaccination. Ayan. So, we already see quite a number of students, teachers, young and old, who underwent the vaccination, Series 1, Series 2, and Series 3 to come. And number of vaccines coming from international countries outside the Philippines are being delivered to the Philippines so that we could get vaccinated the majority number of individuals in our country. Now, the vaccination campaign provides us a bit, not totally, an immunity for the COVID virus, but to add more resistance, give more resistance to people who get vaccinated. But it's not a guarantee. But having the vaccine actually gives us a bit of resistance as we move along our daily task and go back to our daily life activities. Alright, so with that being said, the question is, are you ready to go back to school? Yan. Pwede na ba tayong mag-move on? Diba? We will be given a few months of summer vacation to enjoy our alone time naman, free from academic stress. But then, after the vacation, so we will go back to school. Now, the question is, how do we move forward? So, this is the scenario, no? So, sabi natin dyan, the learning modality would still be the same. So, we will still be using online classes, diba? You will still be experiencing, probably if you enroll in the same school, you will be meeting via online the same teachers, and you will be having the same classmates, diba? Your challenges would still be the same. Ibig sabihin, if you experience distractions online, diba? If you have an academic concerns during your previous school year, it could probably still be the same. You could still experience academic concerns in the next school year. Your situation at home would still be the same. Ibig sabihin, there would come a time that your family members, si nanay, si tatay, si ate, si kuya could from time to time, diba, ask you to do an errand even if you do have classes ongoing. Your kapitbahay, kapitbahay's noise could still be heard pag sumasagot ka, no? Nagre-recite ka sa klase. Or you could still be situated in the same room or same part of the area like where I am right now. This would still be the same unless you move around and reorganize your sala or your room. And your financial situation would still be the same. Ibig sabihin, if walang work si nanay, si tatay lang nagtatrabaho, or si ate lang, the salary received a month would still be the same unless there will be changes, madadagdagan yung may trabaho or madadagdagan yung source of income. So, that being said, given the situation, how will you be able to handle the next school year? Alright, so what can you do? Okay, sabi natin, 90-10 principle. Anything that's happened to you, the situations we cannot control. So we have to adjust. So we have to be clarified. We have to stick to our vision, di ba? Be reminded of our goal. Ano po ba ang goal natin makatapos? Di ba? So we have to be clarified of the situation. Aaral po ba o hindi? Dahil gusto makatapos, since ang educational system naman natin sa Pilipinas, pagka elementary, high school, it's free. Sa college, you have naman public schools also. If you enroll in a private university, so the tuition fee naman is divided into 5 months. So, if your parents naman is sending you to school, so wala namang problema, di ba? If you have difficulty when it comes to tuition fee, meron pong subsidy na binibigay ang government right now. And at some cases, even the government provided gadgets, diba? So, we have to adjust to the certain situation. Ang importante, at the end of the day, we achieve our goal. Little by little, kahit inching yan, diba? At least you're moving forward. If you adjust, it goes without saying that you adapt to the situation. Filipinos are very resilient. Diba, sabi ko nga palagi, we just laugh in the face of danger. No matter what our problems are, we always find creative ways to handle the situation. And lastly, if things really get out of hand, diba, what we can do is to ask assistance. Yan, hindi po kabawasan humingi ng tulong. No? We have our family members as our moral support. Sila yung reason bakit tayo bumabangon sa umaga. No? Sila yung ating pinakamalakas na motivation sa buhay. Diba? And you also have your friends with you. You have your classmates with you. Sa school naman, if you could always turn to your guidance counselors. You could also ask help to your teachers and all the people inside the school. Yung mga staff, diba? Yung mga teachers nyo, diba? Yung program heads nyo, if you have advisors, you could always ask questions and ask assistance. It doesn't necessarily mean that they can provide you with answers, but they could refer you to somebody else who could probably give you help in whatever you're experiencing. So how do you ask assistance? Ayan. So you have to communicate. How do you communicate? You talk to people. Even if you talk to people, sometimes you are asked to connect to other people. So coordinate and then collaborate. When we say collaborate, you have to work with them. Diba? Mahirap pong tulungan ang taong ayaw magpatulong. Diba? Ibig sabihin, what's important is that, one, you would want to be assisted. You would want to be helped. So when you would like to be helped, if things really get too burdened, too heavy for you, diba? Ask somebody who could help you. Okay? So how do we move forward in this time of pandemic? Ayan. So how do we move forward? Sabi natin kanina, communicate, collaborate, diba? Coordinate. You have to adjust. You have to adjust. With the Filipino resiliency, basta sama-sama, kaya natin to. Ibig sabihin, if you would still remember, sabi ko kanina, Filipinos are very resilient and we just laugh in the face of danger. If you could still recall, pagka meron tayong mga trahedya, sakuna, natural calamities, if you do the interview with the victims of calamities, nakikita mo kahit nasunog, nalubog na sila, still they find it a time to laugh, to give a smile. They are very hopeful of what lies ahead. Yan. So Filipinos are like that, diba? It's in our blood. Ibig sabihin, with us sticking together, with your moral support, with your family support, with God as our backup and our strength, whatever happens to us, we could actually win our battle. So if things get out of hand, everything that you are burdened with, you just have to surrender to Him. Yan. At the end of the day, kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan natin, pagdaanan lang natin yan. At kung medyo mabigat na at hindi nyo na kaya, isurrender nyo sa Kanya. Okay? Pag isinurrender nyo sa Kanya yan, diba? And you just let His will, diba, happen to us, everything will fall into its proper place. Lagi niyong tatandaan, lahat ng problema natin, hindi po siya problema. It's actually a blessing in disguise. Diba po? Because there is already a bigger plan for all of us. There is this grandeur scheme na siya lang po ang nakakaalam. And every experience is a learning experience. And at the end of the day, everything that's happening to us is actually a learning experience. And we turn out to be a better person at the end of our problematic situation. So with that, I would like to thank you for sticking with me, and thank you very much for watching, and I hope that I'll be able to see you soon. So bye for now. This is your host, Coach Luz, signing off. Bye-bye.